to yet another new episode of my brand new series, Kick It with Kenisha, where I am collaborating with some of the best experts in the fitness industry. Today, I am delighted to have on the show with me lifestyle coach and holistic nutritionist, Vinita Contractor. Welcome, Vinita ma'am. First of all, thank you for making it on my show. And I am very delighted to have you because you champion the cause of veganism, which I, as an animal lover and also as somebody who believes in a compassionate and more organically nutritious choice, really believe in. But there are a lot of myths around veganism. So in this episode, we'll aim to debunk a few myths that are floating and that have gotten a lot of undue popularity. First of all, let me ask this question. A lot of people think that veganism is just a fad, it's just fashionable. What do you have to say about that?
So firstly, thank you for having me. And to answer that question, I would say that we have been in a period for the last 5-7 years where there are new trends coming and then they dying off or whatever. But I think the question I would like to ask people is compassion a fad? Or is awareness towards your environment a fad? And people who do it as a fad will eventually not follow this lifestyle. And the people who do it for the reasons which are close to their heart, which could be either ethics or ethical treatment for animals, or whether it's sustainability or being more environmentally conscious, or for their health reasons. When you do it for any of these three, you're going to stick with it and then it cannot remain a fad. So that's my answer.
I think that's so beautifully put, that compassion is never a fad. I think it's probably the most reflexive thing for a human being. Now, when we speak about practicality of it, like you said, sustainability, there's another belief that people have that veganism is not practical and technically cannot so be. That in everything there is some element which is naturally breaks the whole idea of veganism. So, what do we say to that audience?
So I would firstly like to clarify the difference between being a vegan and being plant-based. There's a difference between the two. Veganism is a lifestyle choice. It's not just about your food. It's about what you wear, what products you use. Not going to a circus, for example, or not using wool or honey or leather. There are so many angles to being vegan.
Yeah.
But when you are plant-based, it means you primarily eat a diet which is devoid of animal products. Now, when it comes to the current world that we live in, where right from this flooring or this chair or whatever you're wearing could have some traces of animal source.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to know. I mean, the cars we sit in, the airplanes that we fly on have leather seats.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to say I am 100% vegan in that sense. But to the extent possible that you have control over, you minimize the use of animals as commodities. That's the number one thing.
Right.
Coming to, is it practical? Is it possible? So coming to the things that are not in your control, are not in your control.
Yeah.
In terms of diet and in terms of fulfilling our basic needs on a daily basis, food, shelter, clothing, it's absolutely possible. And I can say that right now in history, in human history, in the modern human history, there are alternatives for everything. There are cruelty-free, ethical, healthy choices for everything. Back in the day, when people started, say 10 years ago, they didn't have anything. You had to literally carry your own food or not eat out, etc. But today, everything, right from what you buy at home to when you go out to a restaurant, vegan has gone mainstream. Most good restaurants have a vegan menu. Very quickly, when you choose this lifestyle, you learn how to read labels, and then you get to know what is inherently and coincidentally vegan in any case. Just so that we bring it into context, 80% of our Indian food is already vegan. Your simple dal, chawal, sabzi, roti is vegan.
Wow.
If you don't add paneer, you don't skip the ghee and you skip the dahi, it's anyway vegan. So that's how inexpensive it can get if you stick to basics.
And I think if we skip the ghee, we are using vanaspati or something which is plant-based.
You can use cold pressed oils.
Oh, right.
Vanaspati is not as healthy.
Okay.
It's hydrogenated fat, so it's not great to eat. And I, in fact, promote a even healthier version, and which is not my invention. It's whole food plant-based, where we minimize or not use oil as well.
Oh,
but that's For a beginner, the important thing to understand is be plant-based, but try and be healthy plant-based, because if you're going to have Coke and fries and samosas and vada pav, they're all plant-based, but they're not healthy.
Absolutely. In fact, now that you mention, the extraction of ghee and dairy, etc. So a lot of Indian diet also revolves around, associating ghee with great taste and oil and, like rich food, So also there's another thing that people feel that, vegan diet means saying completely a goodbye to anything that is tasty or yummy. So you are completely, devoid of taste, and it's also like renouncing your taste buds forever. Is that true?
So, not by a long shot. I think most people who have made the switch realize they've become more foodies and more involved with their food, because obviously a little bit of changing of habits require either teaching your house help or cooking yourself. And in terms of rich food and ghee and all of that, just to bring it in context, we are the world's #1 capital of diabetes, and for heart disease we are next. That's what our rich food is doing to us right now, because of the lifestyle we lead. It's not anymore working.
Yeah.
So it's time to change our taste buds, and vegan food can be absolutely amazing, and it's not limited to salads. That's another myth that I have to eat salads.
Yeah.
Of course, we add more vegetables and fruits, but there's so much more. There are berries, there's rice, there's dal, there's legumes, sprouts, wheat, everything.
Wow.
You don't have to be gluten free to be vegan. That's another thing.
Okay.
Many people think, can you have roti? Why can't I have roti?
Oh wow, okay, but I always thought that you have
No. So you don't have to go gluten free, you do not have to go sugar free. Ideally go refined sugar free for your health, but it's not technically not allowed.
Oh, okay. Now another thing with veganism that a lot of, in fact, everybody that I've ever had this conversation is that, it's too expensive. It's a very fancy diet, and it's a diet for the rich. It's a diet that Joaquin Phoenix and these celebrities probably.
Yeah.
Well, would you say so? That it's very.
So I'll tell you where it comes from, and there is some truth to it.
Okay.
The reason is, if you go to a restaurant today, if you go to a cafe or whatever, you'll find, as just for example, you're paying 450 rupees for a pizza. Okay. You will be asked to pay 100 rupees more for vegan cheese. If you go to a Starbucks, you pay 300 rupees for a coffee. You will be asked to pay 70 rupees more for a almond milk. If you go to a chaat wala and you have bhel puri, it's going to cost the same. There's no difference. So real food or simple homemade food costs the same. It's when we want substitutes which are packaged that becomes expensive. So when you buy plant-based mozzarella cheese, it's expensive. When you buy coconut yogurt, it's expensive. But a lot of stuff can be done at home, and then it's not expensive. Or you can train people, or you can look for products which are not high-end but do the job.
There's another angle to veganism. A lot of environmental enthusiasts would say that, veganism is going to eventually lead to deforestation, and you're just, basically disturbing the natural equilibrium. What would you like to say on that?
So I would say there's a little bit of research that needs to be done by people who feel this way. Right now, animal agriculture is the biggest reason for deforestation. Because to feed cows, to produce 1 liter of milk or to produce that much of beef, you need that much land available to grow their field and space to keep the cattle, and then the cold storages or the processing units or the abattoirs, etc. Obviously, this is not all going to happen overnight. As more and more people transition to a plant-based diet or a vegan diet, slowly the animals will be bred less. Right now, they're being artificially bred. This is not natural, the numbers that are being bred. So it's gradual, and the land which will be used for just producing vegetables and grains, right now if we could feed the entire population with the food that's grown, because half of it is going to animals which are going to be eventually eaten. So we are, instead of eating directly, we are doing this.
Correct. In fact, earlier today we were also having a conversation, and we spoke about the documentary which I think which was very informative on Netflix, and you had the great fortune of meeting the filmmaker. Do tell me about that.
Yes. So Eden Poon was the producer of What the Health and Cowspiracy, and he's coming up with a new one called The End of Medicine. And it talks about how animal agriculture and pandemics are related. And it's quite interesting. It's not one of those things which could be. It's very, very scientific, and I'm looking forward to it reaching the masses. So all of these discussions of deforestation versus, just eating healthy, naturally grown fruits and vegetables, how it's so convoluted and so not.
Correct. And even people say that, oh, but if you're talking about compassion, what about livestock farmers? But that is still, you can still be enterprising and figure another alternative. I don't think that unethical, and also it's not very, it's very cruel conditions, like, in which the livestock is bred. So in my opinion, I personally feel compassion is always something that we have the option of, as human beings, we have the choice of rational. So when people say that, oh, but even cats eat this and dogs also eat this, so why can't we? First of all, I think we are meant to be, herbivores, right? Our tendencies are not pointed like that. But what else would you like to say in your journey so far as, as somebody who's championing the cause of veganism, and how did you, first of all, get into it?
To add to what you were saying, that, where the alternative employment, let's understand in India, the poor who are involved with these kind of occupations, yes, it will impact those people, but really the consumer is the one who's dictating what gets manufactured or what gets produced. So in the US already beef consumption has come down, so those many less cows are being bred. So eventually, obviously, the government will also have to help provide some sort of alternatives to the people who are involved with livestock rearing, etc. And as there's a change in consumer behavior, the growing of these animals will reduce, and that's how the people come to balance.
Correct.
And when you ask me how did it start for me, so about 14 years ago, when I was pregnant with my second son, I had anyway gone vegetarian.
Right.
Because somewhere it could not sit well with me. I was born a non-vegetarian.
Yeah.
After that, when we had a visit, the four of us, I have 2 children and my husband, we went to Auroville to a place called Sadhana Forest.
Okay.
And that's where I understood that what's going on my plate is having a direct impact on the environment that we live in.
Right.
All these things, deforestation, what's happening with our soil, what's happening with the methane, what's happening with all the waste that's coming out of animal agriculture. Antibiotic resistance happening in human beings because all our livestock is being fed antibiotics.
Oh, right.
So that's because we eat it, we are getting antibiotic resistance. So a lot of things made sense to me, and that's when I decided to drop it because I anyway turned vegetarian.
Correct. So, in fact, I think that's for all the environmental enthusiasts. In fact, veganism is a better choice. And in this episode, we have tried to debunk a lot of myths, but there's part 2 coming up where we're going to talk about why veganism is not essentially just for animal enthusiasts, if it is in fact a better lifestyle choice. So stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to talk about what's in it for you when you turn vegan. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.